So I'm going to write a function here.
Yeah.
fn equals n, and it's a number, right? Okay. And now I want to validate that, like, because, the other team is going to expect a certain contract that works well, whatever, right? So I'm like, okay, let's see if this works. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, so I just wrote a test here, right? In a way. I mean, what it's not is a test that I can commit to, because it's always going to be failing until I fix it, right? So what you'll normally see is something like this, comment it out or whatever, and saying like, this will, be right?
Yeah.
But that's okay. Now, this thing is the secret sauce that changes everything. TypeScript has this special directive, and it's super like clunky. It's like this archaic thing. So it checks by line. It works by line. That's how like kind of like an afterthought this thing is. It's kind of a hack, but it works very well. And it's at tsexpect error. And basically, not only does it suppress the error, but if it doesn't throw an error, now it complains.
Oh.
So you can see probably already that just with this directive, you can write a whole bunch of tests testing all the edges of your type definitions and have, because right now I can write, for example, hello, like this, and then I'll write fn12, right? So let's say that these are my type tests, right?
Yeah.
So now, if somebody comes in and they're like, oh, okay, this is a number or a Boolean, right? That's still fine. Oh, even though it complains here, let's just say, whatever. Let's go like that. Okay. So it's still fine because none of these broke. None of my tests broke. My unit tests are still good. But if I say string or Boolean, all of a sudden we have a problem in our previous test assumptions. Okay?
Oh, I see. But that is going to appear as it doesn't compile. So
right.
Yeah.
But that's correct because the person consuming this module was consuming it like this. Even if they're not using TypeScript, right? Whatever, it's a JavaScript thing, right? Like, I mean, that's a bad example, but like, even if like they don't care about this throwing this error, it's like they were using a number in there before, because before the contract was a number, the precondition was a number. You refactored it, you changed the API, so now it broke these tests. And okay, I'll show you a more interesting example if you want.
That's interesting. Right.
Any thoughts? I can show you a more interesting example.
So basically what you have is, so you say that if you change you have a bunch of those are statements, right?
Assertions, yeah, whatever.
Assertions that are there.
And these are not meant to be executable.
No, it's just there.
Right.
But it's going to show up it shows up as a compilation error.
Mm-hmm.
I see. So if you change your type, you need to change the type in a way that,
or you need to update the dependence.
It's okay to change your type, but as long as you don't screw up the examples, those are examples.
Yes,
that
exactly.
Use cases that you say, hey, I don't want to accept strings,
right?
And I want to accept numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I see. The negative. I didn't know the negative. That's a directive.
This the little directive, and I'm telling, it's such a hack. Like I'm telling you, it works per line. So if I have like if I do this, for example, so let's define another fn2, and
but
here
when they created this, so now going to this directive, I never saw. So this when they explain why they have that, they explain this usage.
Probably somebody thought of it. I can't be the first person. But that's not how it's explained. Like I'm telling you, in learning TypeScript, when you look up the common directives,
no, I never read.
They talk about it. It's known. But look, you may come across a comment like this. You might not suppress it. They call it a suppressor, which is not. I don't consider it a suppressor, right? Wanted to ignore type errors. My sim counterintuitive. It's like rare cases do exist when the type check needs to be suppressed. And this is the like most authoritative textbook on TypeScript. And they're saying that this is what you do when in the rare cases that you want to suppress to ignore the type error.
So it's like
they're not seeing the fucking
because
potential of this.
It looked like they did it for another reason.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. Because otherwise it wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have been per line. It would have been per expression. It's cool with this, right? And in fact, if I change this to string, now we have a problem, which is good. This is correct. How? But look,
the amazing thing is
yes, that it yes, but look at look at this is what I'm trying to show you. Look at this. If I remove this from here and I put it up here, it doesn't work anymore. Right? Because it's per line.
Per line.
Which is but look, if I collapse it into this line, to me it suggests something. The fact that it's per line, it suggests that it's a hack.
Or it suggests that it's a side effect that they didn't see the potential.
That's what I'm saying.
They are shown. So when you're using it by line, and if the type is correct, so if it is just a suppressor, right? If I design a suppressor, if I see an error, I suppress it.
Right.
But if I don't see an error, I will just stay cool, right? Because I am a suppressor, so there's no error.
Right.
But this one actually flags that, hey, I am unnecessary here. I am not suppressing anything. That's the cool stuff, right?
Yeah, and you can tell yet another confirmation of this suspicion is that when you if I fix it so that it's suppressing properly. Okay, no. So right now I expect an error, but the code is fine. So the directive is complaining. Okay, the error is unused directive.
Yeah, unused directive.
Yeah, but if I remove the directive and I get the actual error that I would have gotten otherwise, right? Like, I mean, I guess actually there's no way around that, right?
But one question: when you say the unused directive is gonna come up.
No, you're right. That's the only thing that they could have done.
But it comes as a warning.
No. That's an error.
As an error.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit!
It's sick. Yeah.
That's funny. That's very interesting. So whoever did that.
No, I know. And there's that's not the only comment directive that there is. There's a couple other ones, but the other ones are all useless. The other ones are all suppressors. There's one, for example.
And you came about this why? But just
I was
coincidence.
Well, I was suppressing an error, and I was like, "Oh, what are the different types?" And I'm like,
and then you have
I'm like, "Holy wait, this one tells you?" Like, yeah.
I see.
Because there's one called TS ignore that's something similar. I don't know.
Right.
TS, yeah. Anyway, so what is another another kind of cooler example was the one I was working on with Roddy. I was showing a bit more of like a real world kind of like how this would happen and how so I have here two arrays, one called positive reactions and one called negative reactions.
Yeah.
Positive reactions are a smiley face, two kinds of smiley faces, and then two strings, all right, killer, right? Negative reactions and let's say like one also is a positive reaction, because usually that's what's done in like, like GitHub, like, like a +1 kind of thing, right? And let's say negative reactions doesn't have that, right? There's no -1. Okay, great. So what I'm trying to accomplish here now is I have a function here called react positively, right? And all it does is like concatenate this let's say user said user is happy, and then colon, and then what your reaction was, right? Okay. Now I want my reaction argument parameter to be a positive reaction. I don't want it to allow negative reactions. But right now I can't enforce that because these are just arrays of strings, an array of string and number, right?
Yeah.
But actually, let's start with this. Like the string and okay, look, this is how I would do an assertion. Like the most basic way of asserting that like this is like strings and numbers is like, you just make a variable and then say, okay, this is type string, or this is type string, and it's an array of strings, positive reactions, and it's going to complain, which is good, right? And then I could put my directive here, right? Okay, let's get rid of this thing for now. Okay, so right now this is fine. The problem is that I need to add also the possibility of numbers. Okay, great. Now, what I want, in order to distinguish between strings though, these like this is it's like a true const. I mean, we use const for everything in JavaScript now, but we've lost the concept of a real const. That is not, it's like, this is like hard coded, right? These are my reactions, right? So TypeScript lets you do that with asConst at the end.
What?
Yes. So basically what this does now is positive reactions are
const.
Specifically these ones, right? So now see that this is not like, now this is actually an error. String or number is not good because I can't, because it's not any string, right? If I expect, like, look at what the type is. The type is this, a tuple in this order. So if I have, for example,
but it was too fast for me. I didn't understand the asConst.
Yeah.
What that means exactly?
Okay. Yes. asConst means that this array is considered read-only.
Okay. No, that's a const. Oh, because a const.
It's the object, but you can change the property.
You can change the property. Right. Okay.
But asConst applies to objects and arrays. If I define an object as const, it means you can't change
anything inside.
Right.
I see.
Right. And that allows TypeScript to deduce that these will be forever the values, right? So if I say const, look, face equals positive reactions, and then take like the one at the first index, I get like that specific string, right? Which is kind of cool. Now, so the type of positive reactions, you can test it by just making a new thing, and then, for example, saying, the type of this variable is going to be, a read-only, a tuple, as they call it, a read-only array with these things. And now it should be cool. What's the it has to be read-only, right? So if I describe it like this, it's a read-only array with these particular items.
Yeah.
And then I assign it to this one. It's cool. Okay. So this is kind of a type test, right? Another. Okay. So then I can say like, okay, let's say positive pos react, and actually let's make this a type. So the type of positive reaction, is type of positive reactions, and then checks out number, because let's start from just 0, right? At the index 0, positive reaction is that particular string. If I say it's the number 0 or the number 1, right? So if I say number, which is all the numbers, then it's any of these, right? So if I say const pos res re, and let's say this is a positive reaction equals, these are my options, right?
That's so cool. Right.
Okay. Now, say I want to, I could test that, the sad face doesn't work, right? Okay, great. So, so here's my function, react positively, and let's say that a reaction must be type positive reaction. Okay, great. So now I have here, I already did that over there. Okay, so now I want to test my function, right? I want to say like, there's a nicer way of writing this that looks more like a test. That is how I do it. So I have some functions that I've written very simple. I'll show you in a second, but I can say is, so like, okay, let's say positive. So say I define this type, and we don't have this crap, right? Because you don't want like crap code that doesn't actually do anything, right? So I have my positive reactions, negative reactions, and this should also be as const. And then I define a type, a proper type positive reaction. Now I want to test it. So I'm going to say is positive reaction. And I'm going to grab the first one from here. And I don't know why. Oh, yeah, because it doesn't find it. So I have my type test little library. Look, so it's like a nice statement, like positive. Oh, and I can actually say like
is. What is this is?
I'll show you in a second. So that is a positive reaction, and this is not. So this one you would give the directive. Okay. So this is type testing. Okay. This is thing is just a utility that I wrote. So you give it a
type.
It's like you tell it the type, and then you give it the value, and then it's like if there's a mismatch, it's gonna throw just by the rules of TypeScript.
Oh, right? By the rules of TypeScript.
This is all just bullshit syntactic sugar, right? But I feel like writing it like that is much easier to it's cleaner, I guess, right?
Right.
You end up with this, right? And and you can say stuff like, okay, param args, what is it? FN args, how is it? Fuck. Parameters? Parameter. Yeah, it is parameters. I don't know why I was giving me shit. Yeah, okay. So if I say, okay. Look, even better. Const, reactions, right? So these are gonna be positive reactions and other ones. And look at this. So I'm gonna put this beside this one, and I'm gonna put this one reaction, type of reactions, right? And here's like a real fucking test that you could make. So I have this statement, and then I have this one, and look at this. Extends reaction, positive reaction. However, if I switch it around, it doesn't extend.
Oh, it's a test to extend. Oh my god, this is so much fun. And how the extend works? Oh, using actually something that
I just make it throw an error.
I see.
And then when we and then you just add this thing, factor done. However, if one day this one of these were to change or whatever, you remove the positive reactions from here.
Can you show me again what I want to confirm my understanding? Just remove that. I want to see the error. So the error appears.
The error is type does not satisfy the constraint. See, sad face is not assignable to type only the smiley ones, right? And so all this works, but then down the line, like I add how can we break it? But you understand how?
Wow, so TypeScript is way more interesting than I thought.
Right?
Maybe it has been evolving recently, right?
Yeah. But I think this is Neanderthal. I think this is old.
No, I never saw that. I mean,
I don't think it's new though.
No, but maybe if I saw that as suppressor, okay.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But I would say, okay, why I will not suppress? I prefer not to suppress it.
No, exactly, yeah.
Right. I never thought about it.
3.9. We're on like, what is it? What am I on? I'm on 7.
Yeah. So but it looks like something that nobody pay attention.
It seems that way. I mean, I'm sure some people are, but the fact that this book doesn't, it was my tip.
Oh, no, it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And look, this is like the ultimate kind of thing that like...
Yeah.
So here when we started, I was showing you like that I was writing a whole bunch of tests here. You can see all the tests for my... Because what I'm writing here, for example, is an enumerable class. And it's better than the normal enumerable class. But I can make the argument for it, right? But it is one of these things that you're talking about, where like the class has like a type, the generic type parameter in it, right?
Right.
And it has a constraint. So I'm like, enumerable, when you instantiate it, it's an enumerable of a bunch of options, right? You need to give me like a bunch of values that make up the discrete kind of constituents of the enumerable. So, and that must be, I said, an array of a read-only array of strings. And then from there, my class, for example, creates a guard, an is, so you can say like, this string, is it, from this? Or you can say, okay, I want to accept an argument for my function that is type, any of the options from this thing, right? Yeah. So
I think I got your type testing thing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. No,
Hell yeah.
I never saw like that.
Hell yeah.
I mean, unless it was something completely far-fetched theoretical thing.